And then the next thing to understand is, well, what on earth is going on in the United States? Well, remember, the main reason a country goes into debt is because they spend more than they earn. And this is known as a deficit. So the worse the annual deficit, the more money the government needs to raise in debt each year. If the government spends $4 trillion and only generates $3 trillion, they need to sell $1 trillion worth of bonds to make up the difference. Now, have a look at this chart of the US surplus or deficit over the years. So back in the year 2001, the US actually did run a surplus, aka they earned more than they spent that year. $130 billion in the black that year. But what's a little scary is that this was the last year that the US made money. Since that time, have a look at the annual deficit. This is income minus expenses. And as you can see, year by year, the long-term trend is worsening. Even taking out the huge deficit years of 2020 and 2021, the trend is still that the gap between spending and income is getting wider and wider each year. Now, as I mentioned, what this means is that to balance the books each year, the government needs to raise more and more money, aka they need to sell more and more bonds to go deeper and deeper into debt. And that's what we can see in this chart here. In 2001, the national debt was around $10 trillion, but as the deficit has worsened, look at what's happened. In 23 years, the debt has ballooned to a staggering $34.8 trillion. Now, that is a huge debt load, but the problematic thing is that the US